My name is Amber, and I'm what my spirit guides call a psychographer. It's not a word you'll find in any textbook or psychology manual, but it's exactly what it sounds like. When I focus on someone or something, I receive a download. Visions, voices, timelines, truths. Not just what has happened, but what will. The good, the bad, and the very, very ugly. And sometimes, if the frequency is strong enough, I can even capture these revelations as files, images, audio, full conversations. I could show you, I could prove it, but my attorney, God bless his heart, advises against it. So instead, I fictionalize what I receive. Names changed, events slightly blurred. But trust me when I say, this story is truer than you'd want it to be. This is the story of Dixie Maynard. Dixie was born sick, or so the story went. Medical complexities, rare disorders with unpronounceable names, a collection of tubes, machines, and paperwork so thick you could lose a child in them. And in the middle of it all, her mother, Connie, always smiling, endlessly exhausted, always clutching a folder of medical records, a cross around her neck, and a story on her lips. They were always on the move, always just escaping some bad situation. Doctors said Dixie wouldn't live past 6, then 8, then 12, but she kept defying expectations, and Connie made sure the world celebrated every milestone. I saw the Make-A-Wish photos, the donation jars at diners, the front-page stories with titles like, "A Mother's Love Knows No Bounds." But the truth, the real truth, was something far darker. Because Dixie wasn't dying. She had a rare genetic disorder that caused complications, but she was nowhere as sick as Connie claimed. And Connie? She wasn't a desperate mother. She was a maestro of manipulation. They'd grifted hundreds, if not thousands, of people and organizations. Habitat for Humanity built them a home. Children's Wish Endowment helped fund trips. Hospitals wrote off bills, and kind strangers filled their pantries. I've watched the footage. Dixie smiling sweetly in a wheelchair she didn't need. Connie crying on the local news, hand clutched over her heart, thanking God for another day with her miracle child. But the miracle really was how long they got away with it. By the time Dixie turned 21, the student had become the master. Connie had begun to slow down, real illnesses creeping in like rust. She wanted out, said they'd made enough money, had enough freebies. She wanted Dixie to go out into the world and have a normal life. But Dixie didn't want normal. She wanted everything. That's when Mickey came into the picture. Simple, sweet, socially awkward Mickey who she met online. A gentle soul in a bumbling body. He was on permanent disability benefits. Dixie started wooing him, flirting, laughing at his jokes, flattering him, telling him he was smart, handsome, important, loved. And then one night, Connie was gone. I've seen the scene replay in my visions like a movie I didn't ask to watch. Connie slumped on the floor. Dixie dialing 911 with crocodile tears already forming. Mickey in the kitchen, shaking, his fingerprints everywhere. Dixie made sure of that. The police found him cradling Connie's favorite sweater. Dixie told them she was a prisoner, that her mother had faked her illnesses and abused her, and Mickey, dear sweet Mickey, had taken pity and set her free. People wanted to believe her. She was young, had a childlike voice, fragile looking. She even had medical records to prove she had suffered. So when the DA offered her a deal to testify against Mickey, she took it. She got 5 years. Mickey got life. When she got out, she reinvented herself, claimed her life would be dedicated to victim advocacy. She even pitched a book deal. For a minute, people ate it up, but lies, like rust, always bubble to the surface. Her stories changed. Her symptoms shifted. People who knew Connie started speaking out. Support started to shift. Some in her family distanced themselves. Even her stepmother, Ruby, who'd stood by her through the trial after prison, started to gradually accept that Dixie was a lot different than she, Ruby, thought. But Dixie was never one to go quietly. She latched onto a man named Brian, good-looking, closeted, and opportunistic. He played the part of the doting boyfriend while pocketing whatever money he could get out of Dixie. Together, they were a dysfunctional circus act, manipulative and spiraling. Then, 12 years later, the bottom fell out again. It was Ruby and Brian she snapped on. I saw it, heard it, the arguments, the backhanded jokes, the muttered insults when they thought she couldn't hear. Dixie heard them all. And then, they were gone. I will spare you the details. Neighbors smelled something. Police broke down the door. Dixie didn't cry this time. She didn't claim victimhood. She just smiled. At trial, the prosecutor said something chilling. She learned how to get sympathy before she learned how to speak. She learned how to lie before she learned how to love. She is not a product of circumstance. She is a product of calculation. 2 life sentences, no parole. Mickey still sits in prison, still refuses to speak against her. And here's the part I want you to think about. Every time someone sees a wheelchair-bound child with a tired mother, they remember Dixie and Connie. They wonder if it's real. They hesitate to give, to help, to believe, and that's the deepest scar Dixie left behind. Not just on the bodies she betrayed and buried, but on our collective trust. So that's this download. That's the story I was given. My guides tell me not all stories end in redemption. Some serve only as warnings. Be careful who you believe. Even a sob story can be a smokescreen. Until next time, stay curious, but never naive. I am Amber, the psychographer.